Curious about what Waikiki looks like right now? As part of our Waikiki Now series, we're showing you what Waikiki looks like right now. For more Hawaii videos, make sure you're subscribed and click that notification bell so you're alerted every time we post a new video. Aloha, I'm Mariam and this is Yes to Hawaii. We make Hawaii videos take the guesswork out of planning your trip. As always, I'll leave timestamps in the description box below, so feel free to skip around the video for the parts that you came here for. Good afternoon. It is now mid-November 2022 and we are on our Waikiki Now series walk, showing you what Waikiki looks like right now. We're starting our walk over here on KUHIO Avenue, and to my right was the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Over here on this side, if you haven't walked in this area before, KUHIO Avenue is the street that is parallel to Kalakaua Avenue. Kalakaua Avenue is the main street, and that's where all the oceanfront hotels are typically going to be on. So again, we are on KUHIO Avenue. It's now November, and if you've been following Waikiki Now lately, you know that we are in the beginning of our winter season. And by winter season, it essentially means our rainy season. This goes from November all the way till about February. And starting in the next month is when you'll start to see a lot of the big waves up on the North Shore. So for November specifically, it does rain quite a bit more compared to our summer months, but it doesn't rain all the time. For something like this, in terms of the rainy season, I would definitely recommend any of your outdoor activities to make sure to try to book those early on in your stay. Sometimes due to rain, some of the activities can cancel, such as your luau's could cancel, which are 100% outdoors. And if you leave something like a luau, which is again 100% outdoors, for the last night of your stay, the problem with that is if your luau gets canceled, you'll of course get refunded, but you won't get to go. So you want to keep that in the earlier part of your stay. Another thing to note is November, compared to our summer months, sunset time is earlier. This time of year, sunset is around 5:45 p.m., so it gets pretty dark by about 6:15, compared to our summer months, July, for example, where sunset is around 7:15 p.m. So why is this important? If you're booking an oceanfront restaurant, for example, and you book your dinner reservation for, say, 7 p.m., by the time you have dinner at your oceanfront restaurant, it will be pitch black outside and you will not get to see those beautiful ocean views that you're trying to see. So again, for November and December, winter months, make sure if you're booking any oceanfront restaurants for dinner, try to book them earlier, say around 5 o'clock, 5:30 at the latest, because again, sunset this time of year is about 5:45. On my right-hand side over here, we're at the corner of KUHIO Avenue and Lewers Street. This store over here on the right completely shut down. If you've watched some of our previous walks, it's been shut down for a little while. KUHIO and Lewers Street again is this intersection that we're walking on right now. We are parallel to Kalakaua Avenue. Walking this way, Kalakaua is on my right-hand side, one street over. To my right over here is the beginning of the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger. This here is the IHOP. Popular spot, especially if you're traveling with kids and maybe they're a bit more picky eaters. This is a really good spot for breakfast. While yes, it is a chain, sometimes you've got those picky eaters and they just want chocolate chip pancakes, so that's a good spot to go to. Over here on the right, like I mentioned, this is the Waikiki Malia by Outrigger, and the place that I just walked past is Rivals, which is a sports bar as well. Coming up here on the right-hand side is a small little pizza spot. It's a grab and go just here on the right-hand side where these people are lining up. Coming up ahead, we are on the corner of KUHIO Avenue and Royal Hawaiian Avenue. So if you were to take a right down this street, you would be on the same side as the duty-free shops. However, the duty-free shops are currently closed as of right now, but that's also a popular trolley stop. If you're catching one of the trolleys, the public trolleys, such as the pink line, the red line, the blue line, and so forth, that's typically their origination point. We are now on the intersection of KUHIO Avenue and Seaside Avenue. Over here on my right-hand side, a lot of shops over here, some small eateries. To my right, we have Starbucks. There's also a Jamba Juice, but that Jamba Juice has been closed for months. This specific Starbucks, if you've been watching our previous videos, this is one of the ones that opens up pretty early, about 4:30 or 5 in the morning. So if you're traveling from the East Coast, you guys are up super early, and you want something quick to grab breakfast, Starbucks Reserve is one of the few places in Waikiki that is open super early. To my right, I just passed an American Savings Bank. So if you're an international guest and you're looking for a proper bank to go into and maybe do some money exchange, that's a good stop. Over here on my right as well is the Nordstrom rack. If you haven't heard of Nordstrom Rack before, it's the off-brand of Nordstrom. So kind of like the outlet version of Nordstrom. So a good place to get some branded items, but for a cheaper price. Typically, it's just off-season merchandise. And that area that I just passed was Duke's Marketplace. Over here coming up is Duke's Lane. If you were to walk down this street to the right, you'll see a bunch of little kiosks where you can buy souvenirs, t-shirts, and other Hawaii merchandise. If you were in Hawaii years past and you were familiar with the old International Marketplace, and you haven't been back since I think it's probably like 2013 or so, the old International Marketplace, some of those vendors are over at the Duke's Lane area. So those little kiosks that you might have remembered back in the day, that's what's still left of the Duke's Lane Marketplace. On my right-hand side, we're at the Laylow Hotel. Over here is the Hideout restaurant to my right, one of my favorite restaurants. I love that place, super delicious, good cocktails and mocktails, plus really good food. Coming up ahead, this entire complex that we're walking by is the International Marketplace. Now, I like to always walk by the International Marketplace on these Waikiki Now walks because it's in the central part of Waikiki. And for that reason, it's a good waypoint, as most people, when they're coming to Waikiki for the first, maybe second time, you're not super familiar with the streets in Waikiki or the side streets. So International Marketplace is a good central location right in Waikiki. To my right-hand side was the KUHIO Food Hall. This area coming up here is the Kona Coffee Purveyors. These little shops on the right-hand side, there are also small little restaurants in here, kind of like small little restaurants within the food hall. So not quite a food court, but like a proper restaurant, but a smaller scale. And then that place that I just passed was again the Kona Coffee Purveyors. This over here on the right-hand side used to be the Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks Fifth Avenue was one of the flagship stores at the International Marketplace, and as you can tell, they have completely shut down as well. I'm not sure what this new space is going to be, but as of right now, this is no longer Saks Fifth Avenue, but this whole strip right here that we're walking past on the right, this is still International Marketplace. So as you can see, the building is pretty tall. Over here, coming up ahead is the parking area. So if you were to drive to the International Marketplace and you wanted to get parking, this is where you would pull in. And on the left over here that I'm pointing out, that's the Lilia, which is a new apartment complex that was just built. So over here to the right, again, this is the parking entrance for the International Marketplace. They do validate parking, so make sure to bring your parking slip with you whenever you go and make purchases within the International Marketplace. Now, some of these over here, these smaller retail places, as you can see, they're open for lease. They're already shut down. And then coming up ahead, I wanted to make sure to point this out, and I try to point this out on all of the walks that I do. Over here on the right, this is part of the Ohana East Hotel, the Ohana East Hotel, is this coin laundry. It's called I Do Laundry. And the reason I point this out is not all hotels will have self-serve laundry. Some of them will only have dry cleaning where you have to send it out. And maybe if you're traveling for weeks at a time, you don't want to pay per item of clothing. Maybe you have 2 weeks of clothing, 3 weeks of clothing. That's a good spot to check out I Do Laundry. Again, on the intersection over here, part of the Ohana East Hotel, and it's on the KUHIO Avenue side street. This over here to the right-hand side is that hotel that I mentioned, the Ohana East Hotel. There's also a restaurant there on the ground floor, Appetito, really good Italian restaurant. I'm not sure what I'm doing with the camera here. On my right-hand side, we've got Tanaka of Tokyo, another good restaurant if you're looking for Japanese food. There's also a Tanaka of Tokyo on Kalakaua Avenue, which is their main location. It's right by the Sephora and the Victoria's Secret. On my right-hand side is the Sheraton Princess Hotel. So not to be confused with the Sheraton Waikiki Hotel, which is oceanfront. Sheraton Princess is not oceanfront. Also a really nice property over here on the right-hand side. So this area that I'm cutting through, this is how you would get to Kalakaua Avenue if you did want to go from KUHIO over one street. So this street that you see up ahead, far up ahead, maybe about 30, 40, 50 feet up ahead of me, is Kalakaua Avenue, and that again is the main street in Waikiki, and that's where a lot of the oceanfront oceanfront hotels will be, and a lot of those hotels also, of course, have restaurants as well. This street right here that I'm about to turn down is Koa Avenue. If you have any pickups at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, typically the pickups will be on the back entrance of the hotel on the Koa Avenue side, which is where I'm turning in. I'm actually heading over to an activity right now as we're doing this walk. So these two towers that you see ahead, this is the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Again, not to be confused with the Hyatt Place Hotel or the Hyatt Centric Hotel, two other Hyatts. I hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if there's any other Hawaii videos you'd like to see, definitely leave them in the comments down below.